we go. It's time for another preview on Full Time Devils. Today it's all about Manchester United versus Bournemouth, the big clash for the Europa League. Joining us today, this fella, Adam McKola. We've gagged him. He prefers not to speak.
I've been held hostage.
Don't say that. Paul's here as well from Rant, one of the best darn Manchester United podcasts out there. And Statman Dave is here as well. You know where to find him on YouTube and the likes. He's got bags of stats and he's here to educate us all. Right, let's start by talking about Manchester United's place in the table compared to Bournemouth. We're currently 3 points behind them. What goal swing is it going to take? We need to win this by 7 goals apparently to overtake them. Is it not? Is it not?
The way goal difference works is if we score 4, their goal difference goes down, guys.
Well, why is producer Chris put 7?
Because the difference is see, I've had to ungag myself because of Chris's stupidity.
4 goals. We need to win 4-0 to overtake Bournemouth. It's November, guys. So do you expect that to switch up before the end of the season? Presumably you do, hopefully. Let's start with Paul. Paul, what do you reckon? Are we going to overtake the mighty Bournemouth by May?
I'm going to go out on a wild limb here. Listen, this is a dangerous prediction, but I do think that Manchester United will end up finishing the league above Bournemouth. That is about the peak of my current ambition for what's going on at Man United, but I think we're going to be all right to finish above Bournemouth, probably.
I was genuinely about to say, what have you seen, Paul, to convince you of that? Because
it's a great question, isn't it? I mean, genuinely, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, it seemed like things had hit a new low for where we were at, and there definitely has been some degree of recovery since then. I certainly wouldn't be getting super excited about that degree of recovery given the fundamental instability and the wild swings in forms we've experienced over the last few years. But I mean, I'm going to answer your question seriously, even though it's hilarious that we're even having this conversation. I think that United's level of attacking talent should mean that we're able to pick up enough wins to claw back our rightful place in the table above the mighty Cherries.
Obviously, yeah, I am joking. About 80% joking. I do think we are going to finish above Bournemouth. No idea where we're actually going to finish. At this moment in time, though, Statman Dave, where can you see Manchester United finishing in the table come May?
Well, it's going to be, top 6. Let's not mess about. United's quality will show through. At the end of the day, we've seen Anthony Martial perform in recent games.
Don't mess about. Top 6 is guaranteed, lads.
Yes.
And I think it's an interesting one to see how the season really plays out, because we've seen the form of Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Chelsea and Arsenal start really well. And we know that football is a long game. We played 10 games. There's 38 to go, 38 games in a season, 28 to go. So the form can swing. United have had that bad spell already this season. You've got to say that. It's going to be only up from here. So you're looking at what could happen. United need to get top 4. That's the big thing. Champions League is the game. And games like Bournemouth away need to be wins. It's as simple as that. If you don't beat Bournemouth away, you don't deserve to be in the top 4. We've had performances so far that are non-deserved of top 4. So now it's the time to start beating these types of teams. The good side, obviously, we beat Bournemouth away at the end of last season. 2-0, very convincing performance. Paul Pogba pretty much ran riot that game. And I kind of expect that again. But it is, United need to start beating teams at the level of Bournemouth, of Everton. Those are the types of games that you've got to pencil in as 3 points. And then you can start worrying about your Tottenhams, your Arsenals, your Cities, your Chelseas. Obviously, City around the corner. This game is big for momentum.
What do you reckon, mate? Where are we going to finish this season? Do you think we've been too negative so far at the start of this preview, talking about maybe we're not going to get top 4? Do you think it's like we will get top 4?
If you're looking for positivity, you're probably coming to the wrong person, to be totally honest with you. I'm not being totally negative either. I can only go by what I'm seeing. Do I think top 4 is guaranteed? No. Do I think we can get it? Yes. There's a possibility we can get it. I think when you look at the teams that are ahead of us at the moment, even looking beyond Bournemouth, because Bournemouth have been incredible in the last couple of weeks. They're scoring a lot of goals, they're keeping goals out the other end. They're looking like a good side that are playing good football. But even above them, you're looking at the rest of them. Chelsea are going to be top 4, Liverpool are going to be top 4, Man City are going to be top 4. So it's looking like a battle between 3 or 4 clubs if Everton can get into the mix for that 4th spot. And it could be a difficult one for us. I think on paper we have got the team to do it. But I think the form that we're showing is very hit and miss. There's been better signs in the last couple of weeks, but still in general, we just got over the line against Everton. We just got over the line against Newcastle. We were beaten comfortably by Juventus at Old Trafford. And before that, Wolves and Derby beat us comfortably. So I don't think we can really be positive about this whole situation. I don't think anything positive. We're talking about Bournemouth are 6th in the league and we need to beat them 4-0 to just go ahead of them. Like, that is really, really not where we should be in the manager's 3rd season in November. That's not where we should be. So I can't be positive about that, but I can be positive about some of the signs that we have seen in recent weeks, especially down that left-hand side. When you're looking at Luke Shaw, you're looking at Paul Pogba, and you're looking at Anthony Martial, they are linking up so well. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans knew, get them on the pitch down that left-hand side and we'll see an improvement.
It's almost as if when we play the most talented players, we play better football.
If I say anything, guys, I'll be in big trouble.
It's weird because you're going to have people commenting on this. Some people saying that we're being far too negative for not even mentioning the possibility of winning the league. That's never happening. Never happening. This season is a top 4 battle for us. That's it. Accept it now, and then you'll be.
Never say never.
Stop
I was
it.
going to say.
Stop it, Dave. It's not happening. We are not winning the league this season.
I was going to say.
Be Mr. Negative, Gaz.
I was going to say, Gaz, one of the people that's going to be commenting on this saying we'd be too negative is Dave.
I will be in the comments with you guys, hammering them. Radio Gaz, what a negative Nelly.
Well,
McKola, when was the last time he smiled?
I think negative Nelly would probably be the biggest compliment I've ever had on YouTube. I've had plenty worse. Right, let's move on and talk about something that we can actually be positive about, and that is one of the brilliant young players currently at Manchester United, a man who's just turned 21 this week, Marcus bloody Rashford. We all love him, don't we? We all love Marcus Rashford. Local lad, obviously grew up supporting the club and is doing his thing in the first team and has been doing for the last few seasons. Feels like he's been around for ages, but where is he at now in terms of his development? Statman Dave, talk to me.
It's interesting, did some stat busting yesterday. Lionel Messi at 21 had scored 42 goals, got 21 assists. Ronaldo had scored 25 goals and got 26 assists. In terms of Rashford, he's right in the middle of those two guys, 34 goals and 18 assists. But you think about who he's scored against. He's scored in the Premier League against every single top 6 side apart from Spurs. He's done it against City, done it against Arsenal, Chelsea, and of course, it's Liverpool. It's one of these things where he's been really good in really big games so far. And to have someone like Marcus Rashford that's come through the academy, that's been at United since the age of 5, it is fantastic. It's brilliant. That's what we want. That's what we want at our football club. We want these young players that have worked hard, that work hard now in the first team, that sometimes make runs off the ball to draw defenders out, to open up space for other players. We've got to celebrate that. So, we may have had a little bit of a negative start, guys, but Marcus Rashford, 21 years old, what a player.
Definitely something to be positive about. Paul, what do you think about Rashford at the minute and how good can he be?
I mean, I have no idea of how good he can be, but from Midtjylland and especially Arsenal. And Midtjylland was such an odd game, and they were so poor in that game that it was the one, obviously it was the home leg where we beat them 5-1, and Memphis absolutely, literally made their right back cry. But those 2 goals...
Memphis used to make me cry.
They were lovely, but it was the game against Arsenal where the feeling, the kind of, oh, is this really happening? Is this kid who, those of us that didn't follow the youth team closely would have heard the name but not been super familiar with? It was so incredibly exciting. And the trajectory since then, anyone that was hoping for the trajectory since then to be better than it's been is probably being really unfair, because obviously a young player coming through really explosively and then having a little dip is not unusual. I mean, I'm ever so sorry to be so boring about this, but even though Mourinho has played Rashford a lot and deserves some degree of credit for that probably, I'm not sure Mourinho, you could really say that Mourinho's been actually the right manager for Rashford at this phase of his career. But no, because I think that sticking him out on the left and having the general attitude, the kind of, people wonder why I always play Lukaku when he played Rashford up front. Mourinho is not a good manager of young players. Whatever, even his biggest defenders would surely admit that that's not the case. So I think Rashford has there has been a kind of sort of limiting effect of having Mourinho in charge. He hasn't had many games through the centre, and we saw in his early going under Van Gaal that he really has it to be quite a fantastic centre forward. So anyway, to answer the question of what his ceiling can be, so much will depend on whether he gets any significant injuries, but also what happens at United. Assuming he stays at United, the kind of culture of the club is going to have a massive impact on where he can go as a player.
It's really weird though, because whenever we post about him on Twitter or talk about him on YouTube or anything, we've always got one person in the comments section just like, oh, he's not good enough, which I find very weird to say about a 21-year-old football player who's done what he's done.
It is. I think when you got to look at Marcus Rashford as well, his promotion through the ranks has been accelerated massively. Because when you look at the point when he came into the first team, he wasn't even next up to come into the first team. Injury. James Wilson, Will Keane, they all suffered injuries, which meant that they couldn't be played in that game, and therefore Marcus Rashford was pushed up. In the 23s and the academy and the reserves, he hadn't really pulled up many trees. He had shown much potential, but he hadn't pulled up any trees or looked like the man that was going to be the next one through the door at Old Trafford. So his progression has been accelerated massively, and I think people kind of need to calm down with him a little bit and kind of expect less. I do agree with Paul in the sense that I feel like a different manager would have got more out of him in terms of coaching and in terms of just helping him become a better forward. Because whilst I do think Jose works with him on other areas of his game, I think in terms of being a striker, that probably isn't his strongest point. And then the other frustrating thing for me is he's not everybody around him isn't held to the same standards as him. And I kind of feel like that's because of his age. And it's the same with Martial. So Lukaku and Matic and all these guys can have bad games week in, week out, but not be punished for it. But then these guys do, and they're pulled out immediately.
I always find that weird. It should be the way around.
Yeah, but then you look at Rashford. Look, he's done fantastically well. He's already won everything he could win apart from the Premier League and the Champions League for Manchester United. So he's nearly got a full...
apart from the two biggest trophies, he's won it all.
No, he has. If you look at that's a fantastic foundation to build from. Because you would expect in a career at United, you would win those two trophies at some point. Yeah. So he's well on the way. He's scoring goals for club and country. I think he does look better for England at the moment. Totally. Because they're playing him in a more accustomed role to his talents. And I think Gareth Southgate, I think he reacts better to his tactics and stuff as well. So I think we see better of him for England. But I do think he's a fantastic player and his future is at Manchester United, regardless of who the manager is.
Hopefully, we can only hope. Right, on the way, we are going to be talking about the boys' predicted 11s going...
What is Chris doing?
Chris is just waving an FA Cup flag. I think he's trying to add some positivity, like, we might still win the FA Cup, guys.
He literally stood behind the camera like this, on his own.
On the way, we are going to get into the guys' predicted 11 and talk about the opposition Bournemouth in a little bit more detail. And of course, everyone's score predictions. We'll see you there in a bit. Predicted 11s. I've got the league in front of me. What are the rules for this now? You need to have had 5 appearances come the end of the season, and then we get your average score on how many you've got correct.
It does say on your thing there, guys.
Oh, I can't read that, remember. So at the top, which one of you lot is at the top? Statman Dave, 8.7 of 6 appearances. McKola's right towards the bottom.
Dale's top of the league. Everyone's already seen the table scrolling past your face and you reading it out wrong.
Paul coming up just before Statman Day. I'm saying who's top out of the guys here? You knob. Right, starting 11s. Paul, tell me yours.
Yeah, very low confidence about this one. I've gone for something that, I don't know, a mix of conservatism and optimism, I guess. Dave in goal. Ashley Young, assuming that Valencia is still in the chamber. Victor Lindelof, Chris Smalling, although he might have been put in the chamber for what was he doing? Anyway, Luke Shaw, and then in midfield I've picked Nemanja Matic because I assume.
But it makes sense because he wants points.
He's going to pick Nemanja Matic in the midfield, which is. At this point, it's utterly baffling that Matic is playing every week for United. Maybe Mourinho often gets to the point where you're thinking he's never going to drop him. This is impossible. And then just when you like start to give up on him ever dropping him, he does drop him. So maybe this will be that one. Pogba and Fred, who I think because the Cherries all knock the ball about loads and are obviously super comfortable in possession, it'd be good for us to have a couple of ballers in the centre of midfield so we can actually hold on to the ball when we get it, because I think that's going to be really important. And then I'm assuming Romelu Lukaku. I love Romelu Lukaku. I know loads of people don't, but I love Romelu Lukaku. I think he's a very good player. I think he's really needed a rest, and I don't think one game is the rest he needs, but I'm going to assume Mourinho is going to be, I've got to put him back. Oh, I had that one game off and it hurt. I've got to put him back in the side. And then Rashford and Martial on either side, which I kind of hope. I hope that's the case. What I'd really like to see, though, is Matic dropped for maybe Ander, assuming he's fit.
Yes.
And then Lukaku dropped with Rashford on the left, Martial through the middle, and Juan Mata on the right. Because I think one of the reasons we've looked better in recent weeks is because Juan Mata's been playing. And I think he's been dramatically underused this season so far.
Can we see more Ander Herrera, please? I will be happy with that. Statman, what's your 11, mate?
I'm going to go De Gea and goal, 4-3-3. Back four of Shaw, Rojo, Lindelof and Young. I think Rojo may get the shot. You know, it looked like he was going to come on when Smalling had that bit of a knock against Everton. Smalling obviously got through that, but I think Rojo may come back into the side. Could be quite an interesting pair in that. Again, Lindelof is good on the cover. Rojo's good being aggressive, so it could work out quite nicely as a little pairing. Midfield three, Matic, Pogba, Fred. And then a front three of Martial on the left-hand side, Marcus Rashford through the middle, and Juan Mata. Completely agree with Paul. Nice. Juan Mata has been brilliant in the last few weeks. Like, he is linking everything together. Without Juan Mata, Man United lack that link. You know, whether it's the balls over the top, whether it's him drifting from the right-hand side, combining through number 10 and ending up on the left wing. Juan Mata is just needed right now for Manchester United. For their attack to be good, Mata has to be there. So hopefully Mourinho will start him on the right-hand side. And again, it's one of these things where same system last season, Bournemouth away, 4-3-3. United looked really good, so I expect them to play a similar formation. And Pogba to maybe run right in central midfield.
I've just been watching you on the screen there. It's like an aura of disinterest throughout the entirety of this preview, seriously. So I'm genuinely scared to ask you what your starting 11 is going to be. What is it? Who are you playing?
David De Gea.
I don't care. I don't like football.
I don't like football. Not this football anyway. David De Gea in goal. I'd go with Ashley Young at right back, Smalling, Lindelof, and I would like to see Bailly in the middle, but I don't think we will. And Luke Shaw at left back. Midfield, Herrera, Fred, and Pogba preferably, but it won't be that. It'll be Matic, Pogba, and Fred. And then up top, you know what I want to see. Dave, did you pick Mata on the right as well as Paul? I know Paul.
I was Mata on the right, Martial on the left. Rashford
I would like
middle.
to see. I think we could potentially start off like that. But what I like about that is when Rashford and Martial push onto defence and Mata comes central, I think that always looks better for us. I think Mata's a lot better when he's central and drifts out wide rather than wide then drifts in central. And I'd like to see that. So probably kind of like a diamond. We won't see it.
Dave's not having it.
I prefer Mata out to in. I understand Mata. In a diamond would be quite nice because again you get that ability to pin them back.
Right, opposition. Let's talk about Bournemouth. Obviously they're doing better than us this season, but can we pop the cherries this time around? Did you like that one?
Is Dave drinking sparkling water?
Oh, never mind. He's not listening. Paul, talk to me about Bournemouth.
Told you he's mental.
I keep meaning to say this. I've meant to say this every time you've come to me so far. I can't believe we've got however long it is into the preview without talking. Like Dave's mentioned a few times, we had that really good performance against Bournemouth last season. Of course, the season before that, it was Mourinho's first game in charge of United. Zlatan's first game, scored that blinder from miles out. It was such a good, feel-good day in the sunshine on the south coast that was. But I want to talk about a game between the two sides in recent history where one of the most extraordinary things any of us have ever seen on a football pitch have happened, and that was when Marouane Fellaini walked on his knees for a bit and then scored a goal. How have we not been talking about that so far? Anyway, Bournemouth are mostly playing 4-4-2 this season. It's really interesting, and they are spreading the goals out. I'll let Dave do the numbers, but there's goals and assists throughout their attack in a really sort of interesting distribution. Callum Wilson particularly significant numbers-wise. And I'm really happy for him because obviously they got into the Premier League and then he had that terrible injury. And it's, it's a testament to a manager like Eddie Howe that he's kind of nurtured him back to being a Premier League striker, which no one even knew whether he could be or not in the first place. So obviously they play really interesting football. They are a very hard-working side. And the thing about the last three results is when a team wins, I think it's 4-0, 0-0, 3-0, right? So they haven't conceded, and they did have a big problem with conceding goals. When you get a run of results like that, that can be for all sorts of reasons. It can definitely be because things just fall right for you. All your chances go in, none of the opposition chances go in. If you look at the underlying data, if you look at the XG on those games, they are not conceding chances. The XG on the games, which is a statistical measure of the quality of chances created and conceded, really match the scores pretty closely, which kind of shows you basically what I'm saying is they're actually good. They're not fluking this league position. They are, whether they're actually good or not, they're definitely actually playing well.
Well, they've got a very good manager. What do you think about people saying Eddie Howe to United at the end of the season? What if he does something mad with Bournemouth? What if they finish like 6th or 5th this season, Bournemouth?
It's weird, isn't it? Because like something like that could magically just be amazing. Like, because you see like Real Madrid do that a lot, don't they? They sign from within La Liga rather than try and find a ready-made manager a lot.
Yeah.
But like it could just turn into Moyes as well. Like someone that's just taken a job that they're not big enough for. I don't think in terms of the disaster like that was, because I think he's more of a coach and he would coach attacking football, which is more suited to what we have. But it's the unknown there. There's a lot of unknown.
See, I've thought about this loads lately because
why?
Because for some reason I'm occupied with the idea of anyone else managing Man United. But no, I'm not saying I think, let's get Eddie Howe in. That'll definitely be great. But I have to say, I would be broadly like, we're trying something interesting. And it'd be very different to the Moyes appointment for a number of reasons. Moyes was like fully football establishment by the time we got him in. Do you know what I mean? He was like part of the furniture.
Exciting about him.
No, Moyes' biggest problem is his personality. Like this was the biggest problem, was that his personality.
My missus says to me every day.
He's right.
And I think that Eddie Howe at least would be kind of a little bit more optimistic and probably rise to the challenge a bit. But anyway, that's not me saying like let's get Eddie Howe in. It's just I would actually be quite excited if I thought that United's board were forward thinking enough to appoint someone that isn't a superstar name.
That'd be a novel idea, wouldn't it?
I'm just there. When it gets to the end of the season and Mourinho actually does go and we finish 5th, I'm just going to be there like, just give it anyone. This point, just give it anyone who plays good football. That's all we need. We tried everything else. Just give it someone who plays good football. Statman Dave, what are you saying for Bournemouth, mate? Anything about them that we've not already mentioned? Don't say that.
Paul gave a great analysis of Bournemouth. The one thing I'd say is last week they played a 3-4-3 for the first time this season. But yeah, Paul's mentioned the attackers, and they've been really good. Callum Wilson, Ryan Fraser, they've been the two guys that have really been contributing in the final third. Callum Wilson, 5 goals, 4 assists. And Ryan Fraser, 5 assists and 3 goals from the left-hand side. Also number 10 in this 3-4-3 that's really fluid and attacking. Other players, David Brooks, signed from Sheffield United. Fantastic talent. A young player that's, Welsh, coming to the Premier League, has really pulled his game up. He did it well in the Championship, but now really translating that form to the Premier League. Another player to watch out for. And watching Bournemouth, they're exciting. They're a good team to watch. They work hard. It's kind of, they are a team. There's still players that played at like League 2 on League 1 level with Eddie Howe that are in this team that are still doing the business. And I think United could learn a lot from Bournemouth this weekend in terms of that structure and how, they're almost a family there. And of course, Eddie Howe is that guy. And he's a young manager. Will have a very, very good job, be it at Spurs, United, Arsenal. He's just a great coach. Obviously, he did jump out before and went to Burnley. That was probably a little bit too soon for him, and rebounded and went back to Bournemouth. And then, we know what he is now, right there doing some good stuff. So he will get a better job in the future, but right now I think he's doing a fantastic job at Bournemouth, and it'll be good for him to continue to coach, at that Bournemouth level, getting them to maybe the Europa League.
Always do nice kits, I think, Bournemouth.
I think the Europa League is the worst thing for teams like Bournemouth and Burnley. I think it's good
it depends
individually for the players because they get that experience of working with in a European game and playing against better opposition. But I think we've seen with Burnley this season that it just messed up the league campaign, and we've seen it with us when we won the Europa League.
It's all about squads, isn't it? I think that's the thing. If you're in the Europa League, you almost need 2 first 11s. So you can play 1 first 11 on a Thursday, 1 first 11 on a Saturday. So with Bournemouth, like you mentioned, Burnley, they got a reasonably small squad. So if that was the case, they would have to go either into their academy, bring loads of players up, which wouldn't be a bad thing, or alternatively go and recruit. But Europa League, obviously, it's a blessing, but it's also, like you mentioned, pretty difficult to play Thursday, Saturday.
Right, score prediction. We beating them?
I hate these 12:30 kickoffs. You know that classic Rooney tweet? Pushing pasta down my throat at 11, I can't do it. Oh, that, I love Rooney.
I like pasta in the morning.
I don't...
I don't get the problem with it. That's what he says, doesn't he? He says he don't like eating pasta in the morning.
Yeah.
I quite like him. I can have pasta about, like a brunch, 11 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m.
No one in this city has brunch.
I do.
Apart from you.
Yeah, but I don't have breakfast. Because I'm a scrote. Score.
You do have breakfast.
Score.
1-1.
Paul.
I just want to say that I quite like having pasta for breakfast. I quite like having pasta in the morning. It's by far my favourite thing that anyone said on this so far.
It's the only thing that anyone has ever said that's accurate.
I mean, is Fellaini injured? Or is he available?
If he hasn't, we haven't got a plan B, so...
If he's available, then I'm going to go 2-1 to United. Fellaini to score with his other leg after doing a little knee run.
Yes. Statman.
I'm going to go 2-0 again, I think. Simple United away win.
2-0 again.
I was going to say, it was interesting. I wanted to know which side you were saying would win 2-0 again, because...
You never know.
United, right?
Nowadays,
you don't even seem sure about that no more.
I'm going to say, did you say 2-1, Paul?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
I'm going to say 2-1 as well. That's what I think it's going to be. Do we get yours? I don't even care. Right, that is it for the Bournemouth preview. We will catch you again very, very soon. Big thanks to all the guys here. Apart from this negative sod who's just made me depressed during today's video.
Listen. I am what the people need at home. I bring the realism. And as does Paul as well.
I get very frustrated by the depiction of any stepping outside of the party line as negativity.
I'm joking. I'm joking. I know you are. It's honesty.
I know you are.
It's realism. I get it.
But it's not even like it's not coming from a negative place. Like it's an attempt at analysis of style of football I don't really like, an approach to man management I don't really like, that sort of thing.
And hold on, if the results were better, we would be quiet.
Yeah, no, I get it. I'm only joking.
We love United.
Guys, we'll catch you again soon. Fancam's coming up this weekend. You can also check out the video on the channel right now from the podcast, which was uploaded recently. What are you doing? This is what we've had throughout the whole entirety of the video. It's awful. I'm going home. See you next time. Later.